guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
UFC Fight Night Vancouver, De Ridder versus Allen. We got a fairly good card here, guys. We'll talk the main card like always, provide free picks, leans, price talk, fades, and more. Got a bunch of Canadians on the main card. The best of the best from Canada, at least, right? A couple good fighters, of course, and we'll talk about those fights here shortly. Remember, this was supposed to be Hernandez in this fight against De Ridder. He got hurt. I was really looking forward to that fight. This fight, not as much, but we'll talk about it. I think Allen does have somewhat of a shot here. I think the matchup is fairly good for him. We'll break that down here shortly. Link.me/system capping for client opportunities. Receive my personal plays for the card and all sports handicap. We got records over there, client comments, and more. UFC, PGA, NFL, and NHL and MLB at low volume. I think I'm kind of done with MLB for the playoffs. We had a nice start, 4-0, lost back-to-back games. Probably going to stay away unless I find a good spot. Just hard to predict what offense is going to show up, right? Example, Blue Jays, you expect game 2, they come back and win. They don't. They can't hit. Then game 3, they get 13 runs scored. So you're just flipping coins, in my opinion, if you're betting baseball. So that's why I'll probably be staying away from the MLB. Not many games left anyways. UFC Rio recap. Let's do a recap. And Charles gets it done, right? I was leaning the Charles way. It would have to be by finish. I did not see him win a decision. And that's what happened here. And he found a submission. I think that was probably his best path to win by finish, right? TKO, KO, you never seen that from Gamrot. We knew Charles would have the grappling advantage, but not the wrestling advantage. However, if he did get the fight down to the ground, he was live to find a submission, and he got it done. Impressive finish, got it done at home. I always mention to you guys, I did mention it last week as well, fighting at home doesn't favor everybody. Charles Oliveira favors him. This is something you would want to look at when backing a guy at home, and he just loves the crowd in Brazil. They love him, right? One of the best to ever do it. One of the most entertaining fighters, definitely. And, Gamrot taking on short notice, I think, did affect him. Even though he did say he was coming in shape, he looked fine. It's just the skill set on the ground. And Charles Oliveira was able to get that done. Impressive. He did mention Max Holloway. I would love that, right? Who wouldn't love that? Max Holloway at the White House, BMF belt. Let's do that. I would love to see that fight happen again, right? It happened prior. We did miss out on a few smaller bets. I had Alvarez by finish in a 2-5 parlay. I don't know how that didn't get finished. I think it was round 2 or was it even round 1 where he was hurting Luque. Ref didn't stop it. And in the third round, he kind of coasted. It seems like he didn't want to hurt him anymore, Alvarez. Most of his fights are wins by finish. I was surprised that one went the distance for sure. Did ruin the card slightly for him. I had Petrino with him in that parlay that did a cash on that. That would have cashed if Alvarez won by finish. Very surprised that didn't go. So up and down Rio card last week. NFL Week 7 podcast is available, guys. Head over to the channel on YouTube, or if you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, I have more listeners there these days. Please rate and review. It would definitely help out a ton. Thanks for that. Let's get into this card. Vancouver, Canada, guys. They are back there. Usually they bring a pay-per-view. This is a fight night card. But yeah, they go into Canada a little more. Montreal, Toronto, and then now Vancouver. De Ridder, -225 versus Allen, +187. Like I mentioned at the top of this podcast, Hernandez was supposed to be this fight. I was very excited for that fight. Now, not as much, but it's still a decent matchup, right? Allen, mid-tier guy in this division. I don't think he'll ever be the top tier of this division, but here's his shot. It's the biggest shot. That's why he took this fight on short notice, right? Allen, fairly well-rounded guy. He can grapple. He can wrestle. He has some power on the feet. Cardio is questioned at times. But De Ridder should have him in most spots. I think it's just his awkwardness and his reach is difficult for guys to handle, right? Very difficult. Who saw De Ridder making this making this run, right? Just been on a tear. 4-0 in the UFC, wins over Kevin Holland, Bo Nickel, and Whitaker were his highlight wins. Right, Allen, when he stepped up in competition, Allen, he failed. That's what I've noticed looking at his resume. Right, Imamov lost, Hernandez lost. And when he went down in competition a little bit, Vittori, who everyone's beating, he was able to beat him. So how good really is Brandon Allen? My opinion, he's just a mid-tier guy. Hang around the top 10. When he gets that opportunity, doesn't pass him so far. This is a big, big opportunity for him. Huge opportunity. I think he matches up fairly well on paper because he can grapple, he can wrestle, and you could even say he has a striking advantage. However, when fighting De Ridder, it's hard to say the other guy has a striking advantage due to his awkwardness and length. Right? Uses his kicks well too, De Ridder. So he could hurt Allen possibly with one of those kicks. But what I liked from De Ridder, and it was in that Whitaker fight, we saw how tough he could be. And we saw he can go 5 rounds. And I do believe because Allen's taking this on short notice, if this goes deeper into the fight and Allen doesn't find an early finish, I think he's going to struggle. And that's where De Ridder would take over this fight and win by later stoppage or decision. So how good is Allen going to come in? Watch the scales for sure. I don't know how much he's been training. We don't really know. He'll say he's been training, but he hasn't been getting 5-round fight training. Keep that in mind, guys, right? But yeah, huge opportunity for Allen. We always thought Brandon Allen would be in big fights. Just when he stepped up in the big fights, he hasn't passed the test. And this is another one. Can he pass the test? Or he's just that guy, mid-tier guy. Is he just always going to be that? I just can't bet against De Ridder right now. There's nothing has shown me that anyone could figure him out. So how could I go against De Ridder? So De Ridder will have to be the look here if I were to bet it. It's very difficult to call an outcome. Very difficult. Rounds total, very difficult as well. You expect to go a few rounds, but both these guys come to finish fights. So I can, if I had to bet a round or is the fight going to go the distance, I would not think this fight will go the distance. Right? A later stoppage and even an earlier stoppage is possible here. So I don't have a strong opinion there, but if you can get a decent price, that fight that goes not to go the decision, it's going to be costly. I haven't looked at it to be honest, but it's going to be costly probably. But even fight in 2-5 parlay, that would be my favorite play on this card. On this fight. But yeah, De Ridder would be the lean for me. Someone show me that they can beat him and handled his awkward style. Right, that's how he's been getting wins. So similar like DDP, right? Awkward to fight on the feet, and then De Ridder has very good grappling and wrestling. So we'll see what happens. Looking forward to this one. Not as much as the Hernandez fight, though. And again, De Ridder minus 225, not a great price as well, right? So very difficult for me to back that. Holland plus 100 versus Malott minus 125. Everyone thought from Canada he was going to be the next big guy, Malott. So I think he's a good fighter. Just not too sure he's up there. Right now, Holland, I'm not going to say he's up there, but Holland has fought the best of the best. Experienced. And we saw what happened when Malott fought that experienced guy in Magny. He's controlling the fight. And then round 3, what Magny does is he shows that experience and was able to finish Malott and tire out Malott. What could happen here again, right? I expect Malott to have a wrestling advantage here. And it'd be interesting to see if he just chain wrestles and makes this one ugly and to win the fight. Because I think that's his best path. I think a submission could be live as well. We've seen Holland submitted multiple times. I think 4 to be exact. Very difficult to finish on the feet. Only time he's been finished has been a TKO doctor stoppage. He's never been knocked out. So I would be very surprised if Malott can knock him out, even though Malott does have some power on the feet, guys. Does have some power on the feet. And I do think he has some good submissions and grappling as well. This is Kevin Holland's 5th fight, guys. Is he getting worn down yet? You also don't know how serious he takes these fights. That's what has me a hard time betting Kevin Holland, especially as a favorite. Here you're getting plus money. So I wouldn't call you crazy if you're going to take that. I think this is a 50-50 fight. I think Kevin Holland's live here due to his experience in fights. And he's just very well-rounded. However, Malot's path would be to take this fight down to the ground, hold him there as much as possible. Submission could be live as well. I think Kevin Holland on the feet, he's lanky, long, tough to fight on the feet at times. But yeah, this is actually the line tells you it's a difficult fight to handicap because you don't know what Kevin Holland's going to show up from fight to fight. And you don't know if Mike Malott is for real. Like he's beating guys like Radke. It's the guys he's beating is very low level, right? And when he stepped up to a Magny, he lost. This is his toughest test yet in Kevin Holland. Right? So this is not something that I'm intrigued to bet or not excited to bet. And again, very difficult on outcome. I would lean the over 2.5 here. But again, if there's a finish, it could come on either side. Both guys are, Malott, I think it would be more from a submission. And Holland could win by submission or knockout. So it's very live both here on outcomes. Lean the over 2.5 here. Leaning Mike Malott if he sticks to the game plan. Again, he's fighting at home, should help him. Crowd will be behind him. But the path would be to wrestle. Is he going to be able to just make this boring and wrestle and not gas out later in the fight? Similar to the Magny fight, he was able to take down Magny, use some of his grappling. He is a black belt, guys. He does have a high-level black belt. Holland has a black belt as well. It's his wrestling that's not as good, and he's able to get taken down and not get in good positions at times. So, yeah, not betting this fight personally for clients. Again, lean the over 2.5, and I'm leaning Mike Malott. If you can get a crazy price on the submission, I would maybe look that way. But again, it would be a very small unit to look at here. But yeah, interesting fight, right? The theory is, can Mike Malott pass the test and beat that best opponent put in front of him? And Kevin Holland could, just continue to beat guys that you may not expect. He's coming off that Daniel Rodriguez loss, right? I thought that he was going to probably win that fight. So that's interesting. You just never know what Kevin Holland was. Then he beat Luque prior to that. And he goes on a run. And then he loses. Just very difficult. He's like flipping coins on what Kevin Holland's going to show up. And I don't like backing guys on flipping coins. I tell you the truth from a betting standpoint and how I look at it, guys. I don't bet every fight, right? So this is a fight that I would suggest could go either way. I'll lean Malott if he decides to just wrestle, make this boring at home. I don't know. I don't know if he'll do that and commit to that. That's the only thing, right? So I'll be staying away from this one. Interesting fight, though. Kevin Holland's 5th fight this year, which is pretty wild. Another interesting one, guys. Chito Vera is back. Long layoff. I think he's the longest of his career. A plus 110 versus a hobby, minus 138. Arrow Hawani's twin is back. That's why I like to call it a hobby, right? 6-fight win streak quietly. Wins over Aldo, Munoz, Basharak. Good guys he's beating. Those are some of his highlights. Obviously, Aldo end of his career. I don't really rate that win as too much, but hey, still got the win. And how he does it is he's a point fighter. Volume point fighter. Not going to finish you. Definitely not going to finish Vera. That's why I love the over 2.5 rounds fight. Goes the distance in this fight. Probably favorite play on this main card. It's going to fit in my client card somehow this week, right? Over 2.5, fight goes the distance. How does this fit? The only way this fight's finished is Vera. Somehow Chito catches him with a big shot, like a spinning kick or spinning elbow. Possible, just very low odds. Right, so that's why I have when you have this at very low odds, right? If it happening, 10%, maybe 5%, you can bet it, right? If it happens and you get totally unlucky, okay, it happens. But Chito Vera, how is he going to bounce back, right, from these losses? Fighting the best of the best and losing, right? He's losing to O'Malley, Sandhagen, Figgy. Zahabi's not there. He's not at that level. So very winnable fight for how is he going to bounce back off this layoff? How is he going to look? What does he have left? A lot of question marks, right? Zahabi he knows how to win fights. That's how I look at it, right? Point fighter, I think his defense is fairly decent. He's able to avoid big shots. And it seems like he has a decent chin as well. I've seen him hit a few times. He was able to take it. I think he's fairly well-rounded. I think Chito may want to try to get this fight down to the ground, but these guys don't wrestle, guys. This is going to be a 3-round fight on the feet, point fight, which could be a split decision or a close decision. So very difficult to bet it. lots of question marks, more question marks with Cheeto in this fight. So I can see Zahabi just winning again by decision. So that's the only way I can look here. But yeah, love the over. Love the over here. I'd be surprised if there's a finish, guys. Very surprised. Jasavicius is back. Plus 187 versus Ferro, minus 225. Her toughest test yet. And I don't think it's a great matchup for her, unfortunately. I like her. I think she's a very well-rounded fighter. Jasmine, Canadian, of course, fighting at hometown. She's one that also plays off the crowd, right? She loves fighting in front of her home fans. Just this matchup is not great for her, guys, right? Ferro's going to have a big striking advantage, but the main thing here is she's very difficult to take down and hold down, and that's how Jasmine wins fights. She wins fights by controlling the wrestling and grappling and get this fight down to the ground. So I could be wrong, and maybe she does have success taking it down and maybe somehow finding submission or ground and pound, but I haven't seen it before, right? 87% takedowns defense for Ferro. Very good on her feet. Very good movement. And the reason why she doesn't get taken down a lot is because her movement on the feet. She's able to avoid the takedowns and keep the fight standing for the most part. And that's why she wins fights. And, she has some sneaky wrestling too. She can take down her opponents as well at times. And she's coming off a loss against Shevchenko. Her resume is night and day difference versus Jasmine. So only way I can look is Ferro here. I agree with the price, 2-1. She'll probably fit in my 2-fight parlays. I expect it to be by decision. I don't think Ferro will get a finish. She's not a finisher, more of a point fighter. So yeah, Ferro by decision would be the play in this fight. But interesting to see if Jasmine could, get the biggest win of her career by far. It's just not the matchup on paper that you like to see, right? She has wins over Andrade, Bruno Silva. Decent wins. It's not like she's beating up cans. Andrade towards the end of her career, not too highly on that one. Bruno Silva, she's a wild card. So yeah, this is going to be the toughest matchup yet for Jasmine. I don't think she passed the test. But hey, if she does, hats off to her. I'll be a little angry because I'll probably have some money on Ferro this week. Last one we'll talk about here, guys. Gibson. Now the card starts dropping a little bit. But hey, 4 good fights that we just talked about. So for a fight night card, very good fight night card. Gibson, minus 175 versus Jiling, plus 150. This is, I'm going to be honest right now, I'm staying out far away from. I see Gibson's path, though, and why he's favored here. Wrestle. Get this fight down to the ground. Jiling, plus, he's 58% takedown defense. So that's how you're going to win this fight, Gibson, right? Get this fight down to the ground, maybe some ground and pound. That's the only way I can look if I were to back this fight. But hey, Jiling, he has some power on the feet, could hurt Gibson. Gibson has shown a decent chin, though, throughout his career. So, yeah, I see the path for him. It's just, is he going to stick to that game plan at home? He is Canadian as well. Is he going to just want to wrestle, make the fight boring, and win the fight there? You don't know, I don't know. Nobody knows. Even when you're in there, right? The game plan could be, let's just wrestle, right? From the coaches, let's wrestle. That's going to be our path to win the fight. And then he doesn't do it. It happens often, guys, right? Either the crowd or he thinks he can finish him on the feed and get that extra 50K bonus. There's a lot of things that go into it, right? The game plan could be one thing, but then it just goes a different way. So again, Gibson decides to wrestle, keep this boring, win the fight. He wins the fight, and you cash the 175 ticket. Maybe lean a decision. Maybe lean the over 2.5 rounds here. But not a fight I'll be getting involved in. If I had to, it had to be an outcome. I'm not going to pay minus 175 on Gibson, right? Not a guy that you want to back. Not a great fighter in the UFC. He has some tough losses, which I can't back. So he's live to lose this fight. Like I said, he's lost to like Katona, Miles Johns, Blackshear's good, but those 2 losses are concerning. But like I said, I see the path here for Gibson to win this fight. That will do it, guys. That will do it. Nice card in Vancouver. Looking forward to it. Nice over in Vancouver as well. If you guys haven't been there, it's a nice played, especially over if you want to make another trip in that area, the whole Western Canada, Vancouver, Calgary, very nice if you like nature especially. That will do it, guys. That will do it. Like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. Enjoy this card.